darkness was mine. Didn't know it was there the whole time. Secret I told you long ago. Back from the dead, out of control. As I fall, I'm a bastard, heartless smile. Hear my laughter, love's on trial. I am broken, you are fire. Lies unspoken, heart's desire. Darkness was mine. Didn't know it was there the whole time. Secret I told you long ago. Back from the dead, out of control. Secrets
What's going on, everybody? Macromaster coming at you. Today is Friday, August 8th, 2025. Yes, got it right. Today I'm going to be playing some Minecraft Bedrock Edition, continuing to build up my base and my tram system. Without further ado, let's get into the game. Because of the technical issues I was having on Wednesday, I decided to put off doing my YouTube specific content until next week. I just wanted to make sure I did investigate the issue. I'm fairly certain I fixed the problem. I just didn't feel comfortable with continuing my efforts to make YouTube specific content until I knew for certain that the issue had been resolved. The issue, to my knowledge, has been resolved and should not happen again. And so yeah, I'm hoping to get my YouTube specific content started next week, which I am super excited about. I'm also excited about going to the Twitch meetup tomorrow, simply because of the possibility of winning a raffle for tickets to PAX West this year, which I'm excited about because it could potentially be the last year that I get to go to PAX West, simply because I'm hoping to be moving soon, and so I would really like to be able to go to PAX West this year before I move, and the possibility of going to PAX West is gone for me. Found another geode, so that's going to be interesting. Of course, I would accidentally cut off my torch. I'm definitely going to want to wait until I've dug this area out a little bit further before I try digging out that geode, because I don't want to dig out that geode and have it end up being much larger than I initially am guessing it's going to be. Yes, I am covering up some iron ore there. I just don't really want to mess with that right now. I'll potentially get back to it when I get to getting into this cutting into this geode. I'm continuing to put up these little levees here to keep water from rushing into the proper the tunnel proper, while I mine out the area, because I don't want my tunnel flooding while I'm working and wiping away any potential torches or minecart tracks. this iron ore, however, I will dig out just because it's right there. It's on the surface. I'm really hoping to get to that geode today, because that would be something really cool to watch. But yeah, going to the Twitch meetup in Seattle tomorrow night. It's at GameWorks in downtown Seattle. So if you're in the Seattle area and you want to swing by and say hello, that would be cool. I would appreciate, saying hi to people that watch my stuff. Alrighty. Just there's so much that going on at PAX West this year that I feel like I have to go. Go. I always put up these levees. If you haven't been watching the stream, I always put these temporary levees up when I'm mining because I don't want the water to flood the tunnel. I know I've said that before, but it bears repeating because you never know when somebody's going to be jumping in and hadn't heard that disclaimer as to why I'm putting up these levees and is wondering why is he doing that, which brings up a great point. If you have any questions about why am I mining things out the way I'm mining them out, if you really would like to see a brief tour of my minecart system, which crisscrosses this entire map, by the way, it's absolutely ridiculous, to the point where I was laying down track for areas I thought I hadn't been to before, and then looking off in the distance and being like, wait a minute, I've already been here. Or laying down track for an area that I thought I hadn't been to before, and then running right up against track or running right across track I'd already laid down from a previous section. And it's like, oh wait, I've already been through here. It was hilarious to watch. It was hilarious to experience. Alright, so we put the marker torches that delineate where the central columns are. And then we dig out the end portions. I have a massive amount of cobblestone, which is absolutely ridiculous how much cobblestone I have. That bubbling really makes me nervous because it sounds quite a bit like the bubbling that lava makes. So it always makes me nervous when I'm working on a new area of the mine and I'm hearing that bubbling noise going on in the background. I'm like, is my next cut going into this stone going to allow lava to just flow right into my tunnel? And I don't have a ready source of water to jump into to protect myself from burn damage. Alright. Then we go down this way, putting up these levees while we're working. Oops. Nope. I don't need my levees to be too high. I just want them to be one block high so that I can jump on them and cut into the stone behind them. They're only here so I don't flood my tunnel. I think when I run out of torches, I will head back up to the surface, sort my materials that I've mined out so far here. And then make more torches. I might even make my torches the old-fashioned way. Grab an axe, go out, find some trees, cut down the trees, make some sticks. I have plenty of coal, so I shouldn't have to worry about finding coal to make my torches with, but I don't know if I have any sticks back in my base. Back in my main house. I also have a really nice garden going, a livestock paddock, which I have stocked with most kinds of livestock that you would normally find on a farm. I also have a really cool little hotel that I built for people who are visiting, so that if they want to visit, they can store their stuff. They can put up a sign with their name on it. There's several beds and individualized storage chests for each bed. And lamps, and it's just a really nice little area for visitors. And a house cat that greets people at the door. Let's finish this area and get set up, or this section and get set up for the next section. And I'll take a quick 5-minute break to run some ads. Hopefully we don't have any issues. And then I'll do an ad read from our sponsor, W Energy, and we'll keep going. Oops. Alright. Set up for the next section. So I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. When I come back, we'll have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll keep going. So back in 5 minutes. Don't go nowhere.
Blessings upon your family.
Nice. Easy collection quest. I think that once it's done. Alrighty. Make sure that time to jump into trying to do Shadow Fang Keep. There's going to be a lot of issues with add-ons right now, so let's see here. That didn't work. probably chose the wrong guy to attack here. Orb. Alright, we're gonna keep going. One more match, and then I take a 5-minute break. Hopefully this match takes all 9 minutes. Sorry, all 6 minutes that remaining before the first break. I totally missed that. Just getting it set up. Hopefully this guy doesn't slow play. I hate people who slow play. Alright. Yeah, they think they're so smart, these mystics. Here yet. Let's talk to
Well met.
guard. No,
Light
that's
bless
not
you.
what I want.
Light be with you.
Let's see if I can get near enough. Ooh. I was hoping I'd be able to get near enough to that chest to open it without pulling aggro on this Pathstalker, but Come on. Really? And let's see if we can get within range. Boom. Alright, so we need to get snipers. And we need to get some Alright, we're back. Quick word from sponsor before we keep gaming. Today's sponsor is, of course, W Energy. W Energy is a great energy drink. It is my absolute favorite. Lots of vitamins, minerals, nootropics, organically derived from coffee berries. No sugar, no artificial dyes or colors, no artificial fillers, just good, clean energy at a price that can't be beat. If you want to try some for yourself, just head over to w.gg, use promo code MACRO1, that's MACRO1 at checkout, save 10% on your order, and help support the channel. Get yourself some good, clean energy, and enjoy it. I personally like to add a little extra into my dubby. Sometimes I'll put it into iced tea. This here, I added some Mio Hydrate to it. Absolutely delicious. And it keeps me hydrated. Alright. Back to the game. Alrighty. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am actually playing. I'm not just watching gameplay. This is not pre-recorded. This is live streamed. I know some people, there has been some controversy over live play, people, you know, basically just commentating on pre-recorded gameplay footage and calling it live streamed. no. This is literally me. In fact, the best way to tell, in my opinion, if somebody is live streaming or actually live streaming the gameplay or just commentating over pre-recorded footage, is if they keep talking throughout the entire thing, even when they screw up, and they don't go back and fix the mistakes that they make. Me, I am constantly making mistakes, going back, fixing them, and I am constantly, unfortunately, forgetting to talk to you guys sometimes and just getting engrossed in the gameplay. Like that. It's especially bad when I'm playing something like World of Warcraft or Star Wars: The Old Republic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, where I have to be concentrating on what's going on in the game, and so I will kind of zone out on gameplay and not pay attention to the fact that I'm streaming. On more than one occasion, this has become a problem, especially at the start of a stream, where I forget that I've started streaming and it's still on the starting soon screen, and I will sit there with the starting soon screen still up and the countdown timer at 0, and I'm just like, it'll be like a minute or two past when I'm supposed to actually start, and I'll just be like, oh shoot, that's right, I'm supposed to be streaming. This? Yeah, let's go ahead and grab it real quick first before I continue. Thankfully, it wasn't a whole lot there. Oh, forgot to put the torches up. Hold on a second here. Just throw those up real quick. Levies are up. Now, the one thing I keep forgetting to do while I'm doing this is putting up the torches before I take down that last little bit there at the bottom. Because sometimes putting the torches, especially on this, putting the torches on the columns, not so difficult. Putting the torches on the solid wall, sometimes I don't get it quite right, and I have to go back and take down a torch and put it back up in the right spot. I think after this one I will have enough space dug out that I might be able to work on that. Ooh. Completely missed that there was ore there. cool. Just make sure there aren't any holes before I continue. I hate digging through dirt. But here's a prime example of why I put those levees there. Let's go ahead and switch to creative real quick. Oh wow, that is going to be a huge geode. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, this is where the thing is going to be. All right. Double wall the ceiling so that it doesn't leak. The walls, not such a big deal, but the ceiling, if you don't double wall it, if you don't put up a double wall on the ceiling, it will leak. There'll be drips coming down. It's not that big of a deal, but it can be distracting. Just want to make sure that I have. Okay, cool. And then we're going to fill in this whole area to get rid of the water. Go. Now we could switch back to survival. Put up the torches. Here we go. this corner. Now, digging through the dirt isn't nearly as bad as digging through gravel. Digging through gravel really sucks. I think if I do one more section of tunnel before I think I'm gonna want to do one more section of tunnel before I dig out that the rest of the geode and collect the crystals, the amethyst crystals. Now, it'd be really cool if I could find a quartz geode. But unfortunately, I don't think quartz naturally occurs in the overworld. I think it only occurs in the nether. But it would be cool if you could find entire nodes of, like, an entire geode of quartz crystal. Oops. Or an entire geode of emerald. Or an entire geode that is completely made out of diamond. That would be really sick. Of course, my underwater, I am in no desperate need of diamonds or emeralds because my underwater base, which is a little bit of ways away from here, I have an entire storeroom that is filled, absolutely filled with diamonds and emeralds. Not just diamonds and emeralds, but stacks of diamonds and emeralds. And not just stacks of diamonds and emeralds, stacks of blocks of diamonds and emeralds. Like entire long chests full of stacks of blocks of diamonds and emeralds. If I wanted to, I could go to my storeroom, grab as many individual emeralds as I could carry, bring them back to my base, since multiple traveling traders have been showing up at my base lately, and pretty much buy them out of their entire inventory of whatever they're currently carrying. So let's see. 9 gemstones per block. 64 blocks to a stack. Oh boy. It's tough to count that out without using a calculator. I mean, I could do it. Don't get me wrong. I could do most. I could do most math up to and including quadratic equations for algebra in my head. I have what I characterize. Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna leave the rest of that iron ore alone. I have what I characterize as a love-hate relationship with math, in that I love to hate it. Like I said, I could do most math up to and including algebra in my head without needing to show my work. Got in trouble for that a lot in school. Even had a parent-teacher conference with my mom sitting right there, and the teacher telling my mom that I am cheating by going into the back of the book and getting the answers from the back of the book. The textbooks that we were using, and this was 8th grade algebra. The textbooks that we were using for 8th grade algebra only had the odd number questions in the back of the book. The answers to the odd number questions. If I was getting the answers for the problems that she was giving us for homework and giving us on tests, and I was cheating, I'm fairly certain I would have been getting all the answers wrong, because I would have been using the answers for the odd numbered questions, and she was assigning us the even numbered questions. My mom was like, well, give him a problem. Give him a problem. Something not from the book. And so the teacher turned around, got up, turned around, wrote on the whiteboard a quadratic equation, and she said, okay, solve it. And I looked at it for a second, and I gave her the answer. And she's like, you cheated. You couldn't have known the answer that quick without writing things down. I was like, you want me to write it down? I'll write it down. I can write out the solution. I just choose not to, because it is a waste of time, in my opinion. I mean, my opinion was, what does it matter how I got to the correct answer? Sorry. Shouldn't it only matter that I got the correct answer? Alright. Here we go. Riding my minecart. But yeah, it's just doing the math in my head. I can do it. It just, my brain doesn't think numbers. My brain thinks words. I mean, everybody's brain thinks words. What I mean to say is that I don't. I don't like to do math. In fact, when I joined the Navy and I took the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, or ASVAB, the highest score you can get on the ASVAB is a 99. I don't know why it's the highest score isn't 100. All I know is that the highest score you can get is a 99. I got a 96 or 97. I got like ridiculously high score on it. And so my recruiter was like, you could do whatever job you want in the Navy with a score like that. You could go nuke. And I was like, well, does nuke require a lot of math? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, F that noise. What job in the Navy requires the least amount of math? I'm like, well, you could be a yeoman. And I was like, cool, let's do that. And then I ended up getting stationed at a landlocked naval air base in Fort Worth, Texas. Don't get me wrong, I loved it there. Really wish I could have stayed in the Navy. I even had an offer from one of the reserve units on base, because I was what was considered an active duty reservist. I was technically straight up active duty, but I was supposed to be attached to a reserve unit, and I actually got offers from a few reserve units on Navy reserve units on the base to be their full-time admin guy. And if it weren't for the fact that I got discharged when I was discharged, I probably would have, when my tour of duty at the base was up, because I was attached to the base itself. But when my tour of duty at the base was up, I would have transferred to one of the other commands. Oops. There we go. Fix that. But yeah, I would have transferred to one of the other commands that was asking me to come to their command. In fact, I have a challenge coin given to me by the command master chief of one of the commands. That he gave it to me along with a request that when my tour of duty with the base was up, that I come work for his command as their dedicated ID card office guy. Because I was good at my job in the ID card office, like ridiculously good. Like there were some people that just, kind of phoning it in the ID card office, man, I went to bat for my customers, for my service members that were coming into the ID card office. I really was a huge advocate for them to get the proper ID cards done. Cause especially with retirees, if you properly retire, even if you take the early retirement at 15 years, you're supposed to get a temporary retiree ID card until you hit 64 and a half years old. I don't know why it's such an arbitrary number of 64 and a half years old, but that's the number. And then when you hit 64 and a half years old, you come into the ID card office, and you go into the ID card office for your local military installation, and you get a permanent retiree ID card. Now, the difference between a temporary and a permanent is that a temporary has an expiration date like any other military ID card. A permanent retiree ID card has no expiration date. And I had one guy come in, a Air Force colonel, I believe, that came in, and he came in to get his permanent retiree ID card, but somebody at the Social Security Administration had messed up, and his date of birth was wrong by a whole year. So according to the Social Security Administration, he was only 63 and a half years old. So he wasn't eligible for a permanent retiree ID card yet. Even though I was looking at his birth certificate right in front of me. And it's like, okay, you're definitely 64 and a half years old. So there's no reason why you can't be getting your permanent retiree ID card. And it just kept spitting out an ID card that expired with an expiration date on it. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. This is wrong. And let me call up the Social Security Administration. They're like, okay, have them come back tomorrow with the proper paperwork, and you can fax it to us and we'll fix it. It shouldn't take more than an hour. I was like, okay, but I have his stuff with me now. Can I fax it to you now? And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, fax it to us now. And I'm like, cool, fax it to them. Hour later, go to make them an ID card. It's still spitting out with an expiration date. I was like, well, they said to have you come back tomorrow. And he's like, well, I can't come back tomorrow. I'll come back next week. I'm like, okay. And so he came back the following week. I go to make him his ID card. It's again spitting out a temporary retiree ID card. I'm like, this is wrong. Still. So let me call up the Social Security Administration, find out what's going on, get this fixed. And I'm like, I call them up, and they're like, well, we still have it in here as he was born on this date. Or he was born in this year, not that year. So, yeah, just fax us his information. I'm like, I've already faxed it to you once. I'll fax it to you again. But what I want you to do is don't hang up the phone. Where is your fax machine? Is it near enough to your desk that you can stay on the phone with me, stay on the line with me, and walk over while still on the phone with me? Walk over to your fax machine and wait for me to send this fax to you. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, cool. So I go and I send them the fax. And they don't receive it for whatever reason. I'm like, and this is, let me just verify that this is the number to the fax machine in front of you. And they're like, yeah, that's the number of the fax machine in front of us. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, well, just, we'll hang up the phone, give us an hour. I'm like, that's what you guys said last week. And like, we'll just give us an hour and we'll get it fixed. I'm like, okay. I apologized to the colonel. I was like, I don't know what they're doing over there at the Social Security Administration, but somebody has their thumb up their butts. I used much more colorful language because, of course, you know, it's the military. There's a reason why there's the phrase mouth like a drunken sailor. Would you look up mouth like a drunken sailor in an urban dictionary? More than likely, it's my face next to it. But, yeah, so I used much more colorful language, but I told them, like, look, I apologize. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they said they'll have it fixed in an hour. So if you wouldn't mind waiting for an hour, you know, we'll get it done. It's like, well, I can't stay today. I've got stuff to do. I was like, will this retiree ID card with the expiration date cause me any trouble? I'm like, I don't believe so. I had friends that worked the security at the front gate, so they're like, and so I had already consulted with them because the front gate security head office was right there in the same building as the ID card office. So I was able to consult with the guys, and they said, no, it shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure it's got the correct no expiration date on it. And so he's like, I'll be back in tomorrow. I was like, cool. And I said, on a whim, I was like, please, when you come back in tomorrow, bring all your paperwork with you again, because I have a feeling these guys are going to screw this up again. He came back the next day. It was screwed up again. So I got on the phone with him again. I was like, look, fix this. Fix this now. I've already faxed his paperwork to you twice. I'm like, well, could you fax it to us one more time, please? I was like, no, I'm not going to fax it to you one more time. You already have 2 copies of it right there in front of you. You're the Social Security Administration. You should have this information. And they're like, and they're like, well, what does it say on his birth certificate? And I gave them the date of birth, and like, they go into the computer and are like, okay, all right, I see that there's a notation here that the proper birth certificate with the proper date of birth was faxed in twice. So let me just go in here, a little click, and boom, it was fixed. And I said, give it an hour, or give it 20 minutes to propagate through the system. Because apparently when you make a change, it doesn't immediately, at least back in the day, it didn't immediately show up everywhere. It took about 20 minutes for it to propagate throughout the entire system. I said, give me 1 second. Let me ask the colonel here if he'd be okay waiting 20 minutes. I asked him. He's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, cool. And then I said to the person that I was talking to on the phone, I was like, you're staying on the line with me for the next 20 minutes. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how busy you are in your office. This man has been in here 3 times over the past 3 weeks. 3 times over the past 2 weeks. He was in no, he was in 4 times over the past 3 weeks. So he came in for the initial one, came in with the paperwork, came in with the paperwork again, and then came in with for the last time. And I said, you're staying on the line with me for the next 20 minutes. I don't care. I want to make sure that if something goes wrong, I don't have to call back and wade through your automated system to get to you again. I want you staying on the phone with me and until this is fixed. And then I said to the colonel, I was like, I do apologize, but I am going to make for the inconveniences here, but I am going to make sure that in the next 20 minutes you walk out, next 25 minutes, however long it took to actually print out and laminate and everything, the retiree ID card. But in the next half hour, you are going to be walking out that door with your permanent, no expiration retiree ID card. And he's like, all right. And so we sat there, we waited for 20 minutes, and we chatted about, how this is ridiculous, how it shouldn't have happened this way. And yeah, he walked out of there, and I got a commendation for it. So, yay. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today, folks. I know I kind of went off the rails a little bit there at the end, but I am exhausted from other issues. So I will be back on tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time playing some Star Wars The Old Republic, continuing my adventures with the dark side of the Force. And that's how tired I am. I'm not even doing my Emperor Palpatine impersonation. But so until tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time, peace out. Stay frosty. Have a great day and stick around for the raid.
This is how the story ends. I've read between the lines. Your pages are a mystery. Your words are undefined. You buried all your secrets there for one of us to find. You wrote them on the pages bare, between the covers bind.